Have you ever wondered why the moment you stop chasing him, the air changes, the room rearranges, and the very edges of a story begin to glow like dawn on a quiet lake? Some women learn this at midnight. A phone goes quiet, a timeline stalls, a promise thins out like fog. She has been running with tired feet and a hopeful heart, gathering crumbs and calling them bread, calling pauses attention, calling confusion a mystery worth solving. Then, one evening, something ancient inside her sets the cup down. There is no announcement, no thunder. She simply stops reaching forward with open palms. The moment she does, something unseen turns its face toward her. The shadow starts to chase her. And the world, noticing the quiet gravity where breathless hunger used to be, tilts and looks back. In old language, this is the hour when the hunter becomes the stag and the stag becomes the forest. In the language of Carl Jung, it is the hour when the shadow comes home to speak. The shadow is not a villain, the shadow is a backpack full of everything that was too heavy to carry in childhood. Unfelt tears. Unnamed hunger. Unasked questions. Unlived power. All the parts that were told to wait outside the door while the well-behaved child learned to smile and nod. When she stops chasing him, the door opens from the inside. Those parts step in as if they never left, because they never did. She once had a pattern that taught her to run after what runs away. Maybe the first unavailable love was a busy father, or a mother whose eyes were filled with storms, or a caretaker who was there in body but winter in spirit. A small girl learns to become springtime for the cold, a warm blanket for the wind. She learns to earn love by reaching further, talking softer, doing more. The body becomes a bell that rings for someone else's hand. This is not a story about blame, it is a story about nervous systems, about the ancient animal inside that wants safety and will work for it as long as it takes. The fawn response is not a flaw. It is a younger self's brilliant plan. But what saves a child may starve a woman. When she meets him, she doesn't meet him. She meets a mirror. Jung called it projection, the art of seeing one's inner film on another person's blank screen. She paints hope on his absence, depth on his distance, and kingship on his crown of thorns. She sees the animus inside her, the inner masculine, the voice of vision, clarity, structure, projected onto his outline. He becomes a traveling cathedral for her own unclaimed authority. She pursues him the way a thirsty desert pursues rain. She calls the chase romance, she calls the ache passion. She doesn't notice that she is chasing the part of herself she never believed she could keep. You can feel this. You can feel how your steps quicken when there is a gap. How your thoughts write whole chapters to fill a silence, how your worth leans toward him like a plant at a window. You can feel that strange electricity when he withdraws 2 steps and you lurch forward 3. There is psychology here, simple as a child's game. Unpredictable attention makes the brain spark brighter. Intermittent reward drops coins into the slot machine of the nervous system, and the hand keeps pulling the lever because sometimes the lights sing and the cherries line up. The game was designed in a childhood casino where the prize was someone's approval and the cost was your own breath. But then there is a day, or a dawn, or a quiet midnight, when she chooses to do nothing. Not silence as a weapon. Silence as a truce with her own soul. She puts down the bow. She does not send the message. She does not explain. She does not thread a needle and mend what he keeps tearing. She does not run after a door that keeps walking away. She sits inside the house of herself and listens to the floor. The first sound she hears is loneliness, it sounds like a small animal in the walls. Then she hears anger, it sounds like a bird with hard wings. Then she hears grief, it sounds like a river that has been waiting for centuries to move. The shadow took off its cloak and came home, and it is not here to punish. It is here to be held. This is where Stoic wisdom walks in softly and sits beside her. What is up to you, and what is not? A Stoic would say her own thoughts, her own choices, her way of meeting the hour, that is hers. His timing, his responses, his storms, that is not. She cannot make the sea become a field by wishing. But she can learn to become a lighthouse. She can learn that self-control is not a cage, it is a key. She can learn that desire without discipline becomes a river that floods every valley, but desire through the channel of dignity becomes power. She can learn that peace is not found in getting what she wants, but in wanting what aligns with her soul. Amor fati, said an old Roman heart, love your fate. To love fate is to love the truth, even when truth comes dressed as silence. As she stays with herself, something unusual happens outside her window. He notices the change in the weather. A mystery circles his mind. The field he used to walk through has grown a fence he cannot see over. The attention that once felt like sunlight he did not ask for has turned into a warm day without him. He senses the space like a hunter senses wind. If he is a man who chases out of habit, the game looks different now. If he is a man who respects gravity, he stands straighter. If he is a man who never planned to stay, he drifts like a leaf toward a different river. All these responses tell the truth. And truth is the only language the soul can read. When a woman stops chasing, she discovers the clean math of attraction. Space creates pull. Not because of tricks, not because of strategy, but because nature loves balance. Two magnets pressed together wrongly will push apart. Turn one around, and the same magnets find each other. The turn is not a theater move, it is a realignment of inner poles. She becomes more of herself, and in the presence of full being, the right things draw near. Some men feel that fullness and wake up like iron hearing the call of a star. Some men feel it and realize they were only listening to the echo of a wound they cannot heal with love. Both outcomes are sacred, and neither diminishes the value of her son. You have been told that love is a chase. That romance is a hunt, that hunger proves depth. You have been told that goodness means endurance, that belief means waiting forever, that patience and passivity are the same. But the queen does not chase. The queen invites. The queen does not sit in icy pride, she sits in warm steadiness. She knows the difference between discernment and disdain. She is not a test for others, she is a testament to herself. When you stop chasing, you sit on your own throne and decide what kind of kingdom your hours will be. You say, this is a kingdom where laughter happens often, where health is praised, where boundaries are clear like clean water, where devotion is honest, where uncertainty is met with kindness. Where no one is asked to be a god. Jung spoke of individuation, the journey of becoming who you are beneath the costumes and roles. Part of that path is calling home the animus, the inner masculine, for the woman, and the anima, the inner feminine, for the man. When she chases him as if he were the guardian of all direction, she exiles her own inner compass. When she stops, the animus returns from exile. It comes not as arrogance, but as clarity. Not as hardness, but as structure. It says, let there be mourning. It says, let there be a plan. It says, let there be a boundary that protects the garden. She notices that she sleeps better when she keeps her word to herself, that her day stands up straighter when she moves her body and feeds it like a beloved animal. That her room feels like a temple when she puts her clothes where they belong and waters her plants on time. None of this is glamorous. All of it is a restoration of kingship inside the queen. The shadow still chases. It taps on the window at 2 a.m. and whispers, remember that one time he smiled with half his mouth. That must mean something. It knocks on the door at noon and says, check your phone again. It sits on the foot of the bed and wonders, what if love is always almost? She learns to speak to this shadow the way a wise mother speaks to a child who came home from a loud party. She says, sit beside me. She says, tell me what you need. She says, there will be no monsters, only feelings with names. The nervous system, once a storm that blew the whole house down, becomes weather she can live through. The breath is a lighthouse. The hand on the heart is a hand on the wild horse's mane. The body realizes it is no longer a battlefield. It is a home. You may fear that if you stop chasing, everything you want will leave. Sometimes it does. Sometimes the man who fed on pursuit will starve without it and go find another hand. Sometimes the fantasy falls off his face, and you see the ordinary human he always was, and you discover that ordinary can be holy or ordinary can be unfit for your sacred hours. But sometimes something else happens. He returns with a different rhythm. He remembers that men are not fed by praise alone, they are built by purpose. If he is a man who wants to be brave, the absence of your constant pursuit creates a mirror. He sees his own face. He asks himself questions you used to ask for him. He chooses to draw near of his own will. Then love rests on 2 feet, not 1 foot dragging the other. There is a paradox here that both psychology and old philosophy agree on. Detachment increases clarity and, often, attraction. Not coldness. Not games. Detachment is the release of demand. It is the inner statement, may it be him, or may it be someone better, or may it be no one for a while, because the rhythm of my life is a sacred thing. The Stoic does not numb, the Stoic names. The Stoic says, this desire is real, and this reality is what it is, and the action that honors both is to stand in dignity. Jung would say, the ego wants to possess, the self wants to relate. Possession squeezes the other into a mold. Relation allows the other to be themselves. When she stops chasing, she moves from possession to relation. If he walks toward her, it is because he chooses to. If he does not, the road is clear for the one who will. In the quiet days that follow the pause, her senses recalibrate. She notices the taste of her tea, the way morning light stands on the floor like a golden animal. She remembers that joy is not only an outcome, it is a practice. She begins to live the life she wanted him to witness, whether or not he is there to witness it. She studies. She lifts. She hikes. She prays in ways the body understands, movement as devotion, stillness as devotion, laughter as devotion. She calls friends and sits with their stories. She gives to challenges that hold meaning. The soul stops waiting in a hallway. It walks into rooms. The more alive she becomes, the more obvious it is that love is not a trophy, it is a duet, not a debate. This is not a sermon against longing. Longing is a river that waters a world. But there is a difference between a river and a leak. A river has banks. A leak ruins the foundations. When your longing runs down the same hallway looking for one vanishing door, the house of your life floods. When your longing is guided by wisdom, it waters your fields and everything grows. You can love him and still love your future. You can desire him and still say, I will not abandon myself. There is no betrayal in that sentence. There is only a promise kept to a little girl who used to try to win a storm's approval by learning to be a rainbow on command. She learns the slow language of boundaries. A boundary is not a wall, it is a border made of honesty. It does not say, you are bad. It says, this is what happens here. It is spoken quietly, like a lake speaking to a shore. It sounds like, I prefer calls to mixed messages. It sounds like, I cannot give my body to uncertainty anymore. It sounds like, I am here for real. If you are not, go in peace. There is no cruelty here. There is a steady hand on a tiller. The ship will not be thrown by every wave. The ship knows its destination. As she claims her dignity, the old gods of chaos come by one last time to bargain. Anxiety says, just one more text, just one more explanation. Despair says, you will be alone forever. Pride says, make him jealous. The shadow dresses up as each voice and tests the door. She thanks them for their service. She does not invite them to dinner. She sits with discomfort the way a monk sits with bell chimes. The discomfort rises and falls. Feelings are weather. They pass. Character remains. The Stoic calls this temperance. Jung calls it awareness. The poet calls it ripening. Something else ripens too, the man inside the myth of him. He lives in a world that taught him chasing is rude or chasing is proof, depending on who spoke last. He also carries a shadow, the anima, the inner feminine he abandoned long ago in the name of being strong. He also projects. Seeing his mother in a woman's face, his sisters in her softness, a wound where there is none, a threat where there is only space. He needs to come home to himself as much as anyone. If he is a man who is awake or becoming so, he will sense her change not as a trick but as a bell of truth. He may come close or he may walk on, but either way he has met a boundary that asks him to choose. And choosing is how a person becomes whole. You have been told to be nice, to soften, to wait, to be endlessly patient. Patience is a garden when there is growth. Patience is a desert when there is none. The queen does not water stones and call it kindness. She waters seeds and calls it love. She turns her face toward the ones who show up with hands and time and steadiness. Not empty cups. When you stop chasing, you start auditioning life itself for the role of worthy. Life auditions you right back, and you both smile, because the audition is the relationship. The way you do this day is the way you do forever. There is a simple physics to all of this that a child could draw in the sand. If you run towards something that runs away, you will keep running. If you stand still in the sun, two things happen: either the thing that can stand the sun joins you, or it finds another shade. Both outcomes reveal the truth. And truth sets people free, not because it feels good at first, but because it ends the lies that were draining a life of color. Jung wrote that the shadow holds gold. It is not just a bag of nightmares, it is a treasure chest buried under the floorboards. When she sits with her need, she finds her gift. Under the hunger for his attention lies her hunger to make. Under the wish to be chosen lies her urge to choose. Under the ache to be seen lies the discipline to see herself without mercy and without malice, the way a wise elder looks at the young, clear-eyed, warm, unwilling to flatter, unwilling to shame. She learns to parent the parts of her that were parentless. She reparents the girl who held a phone like a rosary and prayed for a ping by midnight. She builds the kind of trust inside that once she sought like rain on the wrong fields. She also begins to speak differently. The sentences shorten. The tone deepens. The laughter grows rounder. She does not flatter to keep someone. She compliments because beauty is true. She does not beg for time. She offers her presence as a jewel anyone would be lucky to borrow. She does not perform pain to get concern, she shares experience to build connection. There is a difference between saying help me because I am drowning and saying see me because I am a continent. The first is necessary sometimes. The second is necessary always. You may hear a whisper that says detachment is cruel, that peace is boring, that drama is proof of passion. Notice that thought like a cloud. Watch it pass. Peace is not boring. Peace is subtle. Peace is the sound of a cello before the bow touches. Peace is the moment before the kiss. Peace is the aroma before the bread. It is not the absence of life, it is the condition that life needs to taste like anything at all. Without peace, even sugar tastes like sand. Meanwhile, the world has its own way of responding to a woman who belongs to herself. Some doors open. Some doors close. The man she once ran toward may turn and find himself walking back, surprised by his own legs. If he comes with changed steps, steadier, honest, attentive, she will know. His eyes will listen. His words will align with his calendar. His affection will not be a faucet to be turned when he needs warmth. And if he does not, his absence will be a kindness she will learn to recognize as mercy. There is an ancient courtesy in reality. It frees what cannot stay. In the space between outcomes, she builds. She builds an inner citadel, the Stoics' phrase for the core that does not crumble. The walls are not made of denial. They are made of practices. Waking when the sun is kind. Moving the body like it is a horse that deserves gentle handling. Reading words that sharpen the mind like a blade that cuts away illusion. Saying yes when the heart leans in, no when the gut pulls back. Praying with action. Resting without apology. In this citadel, she keeps her own promises most of all. That is the surest way to heal the abandonment she fears from others. No one can make her show up for herself. That throne is hers. When she sits on it, the realm is calm. The world will tell stories about why this calm draws things nearer. Science will say mirror neurons, energy, micro-expressions that signal confidence and safety. Folk wisdom will say a watched pot never boils, a cat comes to the one who looks away, bees cling to flowers that do not move. Mystics will say like attracts like. Pragmatists will say availability without need is irresistible. It does not matter which language you prefer. The reality is simple. Where she once created a weather of scarcity by running, she now creates an atmosphere of abundance by staying. People respond to atmosphere. They do not always know why. But they know they can breathe there. You might wonder what to do when the shadow does more than tap on the window, when it storms the house. There are days that will feel unbearable. Old scenes replay. Old lies return wearing new clothes. A voice says, you were not chosen because you are not enough. Another says, you were not chosen because you are too much. There is no truth in either. Enough and too much are cages built by those who were afraid of full humanity. When that storm comes, keep the simplest practices. Name the weather. This is shame. This is fear. This is anger. Speak them out loud. Emotions, when named, soften and step to the side like wild animals recognizing a shepherd. Move the body slowly. Eat something warm. Open a window. Call a friend who speaks like a steady river. Place your phone in another room like a candle you do not need to carry all day. The storm will move. The sun will not apologize for shining again. Love, when it is right, provides effort without confusion. It is not always easy, but it is rarely unclear. He calls when he says he will. He tells the truth even when his voice shakes. He makes room for your tears the way you make room for his. He does not punish your boundaries, he is relieved by them. He cherishes your freedom because he is not afraid of his own. He does not turn your value into a test you must retake every week. He sees that you are a cathedral made of days. And he keeps the hours holy. If he is not that man, his absence is the brush of grace. If he is that man, his presence is ease. Both are mercy. There is a line Jungian sometimes share, the gold is in the dark. By staying with the parts you were running from, you find the light you kept looking for in other people's eyes. You find the voice that says, I am not here to audition for love. I am here to participate in it. You find the feet that walk away from chaos without needing a map. You find the hands that build the life you once wanted someone else to hand you. You find that when you stop chasing him, a different chase begins. The shadow chases you not to hurt you, but to return you. The parts of you that got left at childhood's intersections run toward the grown woman and leap, laughing, into her arms. You may learn in this season that the most attractive quality is not performance, but presence. Not the dazzling of costumes, but the ease of a soul at home. Men who are ready will come closer not because they conquered you, but because they see you cannot be conquered, only met. Men who are not ready will walk on, they will look for walls they can climb and call that effort. Your land is a garden with a gate that opens and closes. It opens for what nourishes. It closes for what poisons. The gardener is not cruel. The gardener is faithful. In the old myths, a woman often goes down and then rises. Psyche completes tasks in the underworld to earn a love that is finally real. Persephone squares her shoulders and negotiates the seasons themselves. Artemis runs through forests alone until she finds a worthy pace with those who can keep up. None of them beg. All of them bow, to reality, to necessity, to the truth of their souls. They listen to the shadow, and when it tells them where the gold is buried, they dig. There will be a morning when she realizes she did not check her phone while the kettle sang. There will be an afternoon when a memory arrives and she nods to it like an old neighbor, then returns to her work. There will be an evening when laughter fills the room and there is no ghost at the table. If he is there, he sits with 2 feet on the ground. If he is not, the chairs do not look like bones. Their emptiness feels like space, and space feels like possibility. You can practice this liberation in small ways. Leave messages unread until your body is calm. Answer with truth, not fear. Replace a scroll with a walk. Replace a worry with a task. Not because you are avoiding, because you are aligning. The ego wants a story, the self wants a state. Choose the state, and the story begins to tell itself without making you dizzy. You are not a character begging for a plot to save her. You are the author allowing the plot to grow around your chosen values. Courage, temperance, wisdom. Justice, yes, those stoic pillars that even a child can name. Be brave in love. Be measured in desire. Be clear in thought. Be fair in action. Let these be your crown. In time, the line between chasing and receiving dissolves into a simpler truth. Love is either mutual effort or it is make-believe. The queen does not cling to make-believe. She bows with gratitude for what the fantasy taught and then turns to what is. She blesses the boy in him and releases him to his lessons. She honors the girl in herself and gifts her the life she promised. She looks at the horizon not as a test of patience but as a friend. The sun rises whether or not anyone watches. The heart beats whether or not anyone claps. If he circles back when you have stopped chasing, check his steps. See if they match the song. The masculine, when healthy, is drawn to a woman who respects herself because he respects himself. He is not frightened by her standards, he is focused by them. He does not call her dignity difficult, he calls it direction. If he is shaken by your refusal to perform, he can learn or he can leave. Either way, your task is the same, keep singing at the pitch of your soul. There is a tender sweetness in letting it all be simpler. You do not need 1,000 tactics. You need one truth: love yourself enough to keep choosing what loves you back. The child in you will sigh with relief. The ancestor in you will smile. The future in you will send a thank you letter that smells like cedar and lemon and new pages. By the time the year turns, the story will look like this. She no longer chases. She no longer freezes. She no longer floods. She notices. She chooses. She allows. She welcomes what is healthy. She bows to what is not and lets it pass. Her phone no longer holds her worth. Her mirror reflects a face that belongs to a lineage of women who learned when to hold on and when to let go. She forgives the younger ones. She thanks the teachers who came in the shape of men who could not stay. She blesses the man who does stay, if he appears. She blesses herself either way. What happens when you stop chasing him is that the shadow starts to chase you. But what you learn as you turn and face it is that it is not a monster. It is the part of you that refused to die. It comes bearing stories, carrying tools, offering maps. If you accept the gifts, another transformation happens. The shadow stops chasing you and begins to walk beside you. It becomes a companion, a scout, a guardian at thresholds. You become whole enough to hold your own night and your own day without borrowing a flashlight from anyone. On such a day, love arrives like anything else, on time or late, easy or complicated, quiet or singing. You do not grasp. You greet. You do not diminish to accommodate. You enlarge to include. You do not throw away standards because something is shiny. You hold out your hands to the real. He takes them or he does not. Your hands remain yours. So if you are here at midnight with a silent phone and a loud heart, know this. The work is not to make him remember you. The work is to remember yourself. Let the shadow catch up. Let it tell you where you forgot your crown. Put it on. Walk through your days like a woman who knows the difference between a wish and a vow. The forest will rearrange around such a stride. The right eyes will find you not because you chased them, but because you became visible to yourself. Peace is not him. Peace is you. Love is not what you demand. Love is what you practice. Worth is not what you win. Worth is what you are. Stand in that, and let the world adjust. You are the mountain, let the weather learn your name.